hour of Jeff Kerr and Tone DeShields today here on Good Morning NFC East. Normally we have Kevin Boyler in here on Wednesday, but he's a busy man and he's doing his stuff for lacrosse out in LA. Lacrosse in LA just sounds crazy to me, but he texted me late last night. Well, late for us, not for him. It's 4 o'clock in the morning where Kevin Boyler is, and we kind of wanted to get his feelings on the Giants today, Tone. We're not going to get him this week, but Kevin, you're in our thoughts. You're in our spirit right now as the Eagles put a butt whooping on your football team this past week.
Yeah, man. I'm starting to I don't know, man. The timing is too perfect for Kevin. And
Kevin actually likes coming on.
I'm a big fan of Kevin. I like Kevin a lot. Kevin's my guy. He knows that.
Kevin loves coming on after a loss too. I think he likes complaining about stuff more than actually praising stuff.
Oh man, shout out to our guy Kevin Boyler, man. He's a good dude. He always comes in right on time for us, man. But perfect timing. So all I'm gonna say, Kevin, just perfect timing. Right?
I told him I actually blame myself because I went to bed at 10 last night and he's texting me at like 7:15 his time, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So I guess it's a full hour of me and Tone today. Tone, before we get into football talk here, did you know the Sixers are 5th in the Eastern Conference and Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Tyrese Maxey have only played 6 games together?
That's wild. I was actually at the game last night and
should have bought my tickets.
Hey, listen, I didn't buy the tickets at all.
Hey, I was gonna say, the company hook you up?
Hey, it was a last minute thing. I'm sitting in my my home studio working on some JAKIB stuff, and all of a sudden I get a text from the big guy. I get a text from Xander. I get a text from Joe Cross saying, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" I'm just working on some stuff, man. You know what's going on? Hey, we got these tickets that we're trying to move. We're trying to get rid of. We can't go. Hey, what do you think? I said, hey, man, wifey will be right there. So, man, it was a nice little date night for wifey and I.
Did you get the wine and dine last night, or was it like just normal seats? I saw the pic.
Oh yeah, they were pretty good seats.
Nice.
You know, I enjoyed the game. It was fun. The energy was great. They took care of business. James Harden looked spectacular. Tobias Harris looked spectacular. Joel Embiid looked great. You know, even with Style, but it was almost like it was perfect timing. You know, because I saw everyone just in the flow. Everyone was playing great basketball. It was honestly just a good night last night.
Yeah. That what sucks for me, Tone. Like I'm a season ticket holder for the Sixers. I've been one for I think 7-8 years now. It's been a while. Anyway, I normally go to about 7-10 games at this point in the year. I've only been to 3. And 2 of them were during a holiday break. So I got to get to some of these games on this home stretch. But I've been so busy with coaching and, with obviously with my NFL duties. I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's right. The Sixers played tonight. Like, it did hit me till 7:15 that they actually played.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't been to a Sixers game since the playoff loss to the Atlanta Hawks in Game 5. That was like.
Oh, you were at that game. Oh, I sold that game.
Yeah.
Game 7 I went to, and
it was the game where they blew like a 30-point lead in like the third or fourth quarter, something like that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. You know what? After they lost that game, I was like, well, glad I sold that. But Game 7 was funny, right? So I'm one person who never shuts up about anything. I was after Ben decided not to take that dunk and pass it to the thigh bowl. I was quiet the rest of the game. I was quiet till we got in the car.
You probably should have sold that ticket.
Oh no, I never went to a Game 7, so I had to go to one.
Of course.
And I didn't care if I did care if they lost, but that's not the point. So I get in the car with my buddies, and everybody's just waiting for me to say something. I said, it's not that he passed up the dunk. He threw it to a player that was worse than him on the floor offensively.
Yeah.
I'm like, tell me you don't want the ball without telling me you don't want the ball.
You know, one person who I know who always wants the ball is AJ Brown.
Thank you.
Devontae Smith. You know, Dallas got those guys. Those guys always want to shine in the biggest of moments, right? And
by the way, Tone, I since you brought up AJ Brown, I wanted to point this out. So AJ Brown was on our All Things Covered podcast last night with Byron McFadden with Patrick Peterson. Yeah, AJ Brown was making the rounds yesterday because of Old Spice. So he got to talk to a couple of us here at CBS. And I liked what he said about Jalen Hurts. He said a couple of fun things, but I like what he said about Jalen Hurts. And he don't care if he wins MVP, but we're rooting like hell for him.
Yeah, Hurts is not that guy. One thing I love about Jalen Hurts, man, shout out to AJ Brown, by the way. Just a good dude, man. You know, AJ Brown
He is a good dude. He's a funny dude.
Funny dude. He fits perfectly in the city. He's just a happy guy, man. He's a guy that trusts the process. But you know, Jalen Hurts is a guy who's never, ever been a me first guy. He doesn't care about personal accolades. He understands the larger goal. And that's what separates, you know, Jalen Hurts from other teams or other players in this NFL who can't stop talking, Cowboys. But you know, Jalen Hurts is a guy who's he's in a groove. He's in a groove. This team is clicking at the perfect time. So I really can't wait to see how this man looks in the playoffs. You know, I have to ask you, you know, what have you seen from this team these past few games? Like I said, they're clicking at the right time. What are you seeing from this team these past few games that lead you to believe that they can carry it over to the playoffs in the next few weeks or so?
Well, the fact that 1 week they run for 360 yards, and next week they throw for 380 yards. I think that says it all to me. I mean, look, they've scored. This is the most points the Eagles have scored in a 3-game stretch since 1950. 1950, Tone DeShields. They are beating you in many different ways. They're the first team since the 87 Raiders to run for 350 1 week, throw for 350 the next. And that Raiders team, they have Bo Jackson. They have Marcus Allen. So you knew they could ball. I'm looking at this as this team, look, they're first offensively in scoring. They haven't had number one scoring offense in the league since 1949 when the New York Bulldogs were in the NFL. There are a lot of other legacy franchises, but the New York Bulldogs is the one you want to keep in mind here. They have a top 3 scoring defense. They have a top. They're first, second, or third in like 27 different categories this year. They're 12-1 for a reason. I just think this team could beat you in a multitude of ways every single week. Like on Sunday, for example, they provide death by 1,000 cuts by those long drives against the Giants, and then boom, quick strike. Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. They're setting. It's almost like a volleyball team, right? They're waiting for the kill. They're just waiting for that right moment for the opponent to slip up. And then it's bump, set, spike. And with this football team, I just love how they have multiple ways to beat you. Same with the quarterback. Passing the ball, run the ball. It's just a dangerous team. And it's hard to... Yeah, everybody was like... Remember when they were undefeated? And we're all like, when is this team going to lose? There's a reason why we were saying that, because we knew how good they were, and they're playing even better than they were 2 months ago.
Is it fair to say that loss was necessary?
I don't believe in necessary losses. I do not. I do not.
Okay.
And this is why. So when someone says that to me, said you can't go undefeated going to the playoffs, I said, what are you talking about? I said, there have only been 2 teams that have been undefeated going to the playoffs, and they at least made the championship game.
But what about the pressure? Right.
I don't give a crap about the pressure. I mean, it's nice you get one off your chest, but I don't believe in necessary losses.
Okay, but that loss allowed.
Hey, Emperor Palpatine had a necessary loss in Count Dooku, and he didn't need to have one. Just remember, and those are his
Star Wars reference. I like that.
Yeah, those are his words, by the way.
But listen, that loss allowed this team to look in the mirror, did it not? Think about the moves they made after that loss, bringing in Linval Joseph and Dominic Sue. It allowed them to really realize, okay, wow, this is a problem for us. We need to check this box before it gets out of hand. You dig what I'm saying? The run defense in particular.
I think Howie's going to check the boxes regardless. I mean, honestly, if they won it all. Look, I still think it's amazing how the Eagles, one game they lost this year, a team had to run the ball 49 times off them, the most in 18 years off the Eagles, and had to control the ball for 40 minutes, the most in 7 years off them, and had to convert 12 first downs off them, which has never happened against the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. That's what's crazy to me. Even in their loss, it took like all this stuff to happen.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. It took a king's ransom for them to lose that game. Yeah. It took so many things to happen perfectly for the Washington Commanders, for the Philadelphia Eagles to lose that game. And still, they had a chance to win it in the end. If not for a Quez Watkins fumble, shout out to Quez Watkins. The Eagles had a really good unscripted episode.
By the way,
covering him.
He's been balling. He's been balling since that.
Ever since that moment, ever since Goddard went down, he's stepped up. I think he had like 3 touchdowns in 3 weeks, or 2 touchdowns in 3 weeks, something like that. He's been contributing. He stepped up, and ultimately, I do think I think it's important to get punched in the mouth so you know what it feels like. I think that's important in the grand scheme of things. I know you don't believe in necessary losses, but I am a firm believer in getting everyone's best punch and knowing how to take a punch. It's a lot of boxers out here that don't know how to take a punch, and they finally get hit. They don't know how to respond.
This is where I'll agree with you. So being in that locker room after they lost that game to Washington, I think they felt a sense of relief. Like, okay, we don't have to hear about the BS perfect season talk anymore. It was what, week 10? Yeah, week 10, week 11. They started what, 9-0? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 9-0 they started. Best start in franchise history, right?
Or was it 8? Yeah, I think it was 8-0 or 9-0. It was one or the other. I don't know.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah, I don't remember it. Point is, they're 12-1 anyway. But no, it was 8-0. It was 8-0. So anyway, I'm looking at it as, okay, listen to Lane Johnson, listen to Miles Sanders, Brandon Graham, leaders on this team, Jason Kelsey. Not that they felt relieved, but I think they were kind of tired of hearing the talk because it was so early in the year. Like, if they would have kept this up now, I think you would have heard more of the talk. Should Nick rest his guys? Are they going to lose? Are they going to find a way to, do what the Colts did over the years, or, the Patriots late in the season, and, all the Steelers. Remember, everybody was like, oh, remember that narrative going around? Oh, the Steelers were the last unbeaten team 2 years ago, and they didn't win a playoff game. Well, that was the Steelers. They weren't that good to begin with. But I think people know this team is good. I think they've been re-energized after their loss, so that's where I would agree with you there. I just don't believe in necessary losses or long-term sustainability of a loss. Like, because again, the 17 team, right? They lost what, 2 games? And I remember when they were 10-1.
They lost 3 games. They were 13-3.
Yeah. But I don't count the last one. Because
True.
they didn't play anybody. So I remember when they were 10-1. And a lot of Eagles fans got upset with me on this because I said, if they split between Seattle and the Rams, I'm going to be happy. Well, how can you be like that? Because they're 10-1. I'm like, well, look at the optics of the road trip. It was a tough road trip, and they stayed out there. And they went 1-1. I'm like, they're going to get home field advantage now. Even though they lost Carson Wentz in the process of doing that, I'm like, they're going to be fine because they're going to have games at home, and I didn't think they were going to miss a beat with old Nicky Six. And through 4 touchdown passes against the Giants in his first start in a couple of years, I think that said it all. That, by the way, that's one of my favorite games in the Meadowlands.
Yeah, man. Nick Foles, he'll never have to pay for another cheesesteak in this city again.
Near will turn DeShields if he keeps this up.
Hey, listen, man. Big Nicky. But, I want to talk about Jalen Hurts' maturity at the quarterback position, if you don't mind, Jeff. I was watching that Giants game, and it was so methodical the way he was moving down the field. And you brought it up, too, with the long, sustained drives to open the game and so on and so forth. You saw a quarterback take the next step, in my opinion. You saw a quarterback who wasn't afraid to take the check down, trusting his players. You saw a quarterback converting key third downs, 3rd and longs, 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s. You saw a guy responding to, be it a penalty, be it a drop, be it maybe a toe out of bounds on a very crucial catch. He was converting 3rd down at the 3rd down at the 3rd down on that drive. I've never seen a more mature performance from Jalen Hurts because, when you're a young quarterback and you have the talent and you have the dogs out there, you got the weapons, you want to throw it deep. You want to air it out, right? And that's what A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts have been doing all season. They've been dropping bombs on teams. But I saw one of the most mature games from Jalen Hurts that I've seen. Like I said, what sets Tom Brady away from guys is not the fact that he's the GOAT and the rings, all that kind of stuff. It's because of the fact he's not afraid to take the check down. He's not afraid to nickel and dime you down the field. He's made a living off of nickel and diming you down the field, being methodical, being surgical. So when you look at Jalen Hurts right now, how would you evaluate his maturity at the quarterback position based off everything I've said to you and everything that you've seen from him this season?
Well, it's like a 10-year veteran, right, Tom? I mean, I've never seen a man be as impressive at that position on and off the field the way Jalen Hurts has in a long time. Like, I honestly, the two most mature players I've seen at the quarterback position in the last 10 years, and I'm not counting Tom Brady in this because Tom Brady's been in the league for a while. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. Is it funny that they're the two best quarterbacks in football right now? I mean, you could say Josh Allen's very mature too, because he is, and he's a leader in the community, but the way Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes handled their demeanor, you never hear any controversial words out of their mouths, ever. And even if you do, they back it up with their play on the field. Like Jalen Hurts, it's the same thing all the time. The daily deposit. That's what John McMullen and I like to joke about. It's the same thing, but different words. Daily deposit, rent is due. I really want to ask him sometime. So when do you deposit that check, Jalen? I'm just curious. Is it on Sundays or do you wait a day or two? I'm just curious. Or, when they win the Super Bowl,
whenever Howie Roseman cashes it, whenever Howie Roseman writes it up.
By the way, is there a chance Jalen Hurts takes a discount?
No.
You don't think he does?
He shouldn't.
Even if it helps his football team?
I'll put it to you this way. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback that's very self-aware. He's very self-aware. He understands where he is in his career. He always understands the work that needs to be put in. And he understands the logistics, the dynamics to sustain success. Do I think he'll take a team discount? No. But do I think he'll take a deal that's comfortable and perfect for him? Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Patrick Mahomes is getting paid, right?
Yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes also structured his contract where he helped the Chiefs out.
It's very team friendly. Yeah. I know when the deal first came out, people were like, $500 million. What the hell? But when you really that contract today is an amazing contract.
Oh, it really is. Because he can structure it where, okay, they can pay their guys on the offensive line. They could pay key defensive guys. They could pay their receiver. And look, the only reason Tyreek Hill ain't there, I still think that's a Tyreek Hill thing. I don't think it was a patch. Like last year, for example, Tyreek Hill said he didn't get enough targets. He got the most targets in his career last year. He got 112 targets. He's saying he's not getting enough targets. No, you know what? He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. That's what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, his legacy was set in Kansas City. He got his ring. He got the numbers. At this point, now he's looking at okay, I need to cash out. And I'm never upset with players, getting their coins, because this game can give you a lot, but it also can take a lot from you, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. So
I'm wondering, will sign a long-term deal. I think he will because he does like it here. But I'm curious to see what his market will be in 2 years. I know it's just a while down the road. Devonta Smith.
That's the person I'm concerned about the most in terms of the contract discussions when it comes. Granted, the timing is decent when you think about AJ Brown's contract is going to be nearing an end and Devontae's is going to be coming up. But that's the one player I'm concerned about the most in terms of contract negotiations. And will he look at it like, well, I feel like I can maximize my talents in another system. I could probably get more touches, more opportunities. I can get bigger numbers. Last season he had just over 900 yards. This season he's closing in on 800 yards with more receptions. And obviously he's not the number one here, but that's a guy I'm concerned about the most from a contract discussion perspective, because I just don't know if Howie Roseman wants to commit big money to 2 wide receivers.
I don't know if he does either. And again, that's a lot of money to pay for. I mean, look, even if they're 2 studs, like, you got to trust your quarterback's going to get even better than that and can make anybody good. Like, just how Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen can pretty much make anybody good.
That's why it's important to maximize this situation right now, today.
Yeah, that's why we keep talking about, like, look, this is the best chance to win a Super Bowl.
It doesn't get better than this.
No, it doesn't. He's on a rookie contract, and he's playing at an MVP level. Like, you have to at least get there. That's my opinion. You have to at least get there. Because, I don't know, again, I think they're better than Kansas City. I think they're better than Buffalo, but they're still really good teams. Oh, by the way, you can't keep Cincinnati out of the discussion here. To me, that's a sleeper team right now, Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's funny. At the beginning of the season, I had a feeling it would be, well, as the season was progressing, I had a feeling it would be Bills and Eagles in the Super Bowl.
And it still can be.
And it still can be. But I had this weird feeling, and I'm leaning towards my man Rick Saratella's prediction. I have a feeling it's going to be Eagles Bengals.
I mean, when did he make that prediction? Did he make it in August?
He made that. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak for him, but
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, I think he made that in September, something like that, September.
Yeah, like right before the season started.
I believe so. Yeah.
I remember when he said that, like the Eagles could. I'm like, I don't think that's as far fetched as people are making it out to be, based on how the NFC would play out. Like, I thought they'd be like a dark horse team. Like, I thought they'd win 12 games. They got 12 now, so I understated it. But I'm not crazy on the whole Super Bowl projections thing. You know how social media is; everything blows up. But there is a Jalen Hurts thing I did want to. Why do we care how much Jalen Hurts gets paid?
I really don't. I don't care.
I don't either.
I never care what anyone gets paid as long as they're winning, as long as they're successful. I don't care. It's not my. I'm not a pocket watcher, so
Yeah. By the way, I hate to tell Big Sills about the running quarterback thing. Steve Younger's a running quarterback. He lasted pretty long. He had a lot of concussions, but he lasted long.
I think he had a 10-year career, right?
A little longer than 10. Started in 86, 87. Again, he was a full-time starter in 91.
Right.
Played till 99. Ultimately, concussions got the best of him, but he lasted a while. I mean, I wonder how long Vic's career would have been if he ain't go to prison.
Yeah, I wonder how long it would have been if he would have got with Andy Reid sooner.
Well, he would have been what quarterbacks are now. By the way, I still think Jalen Hurts is good enough to last 10 years. Same with Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes runs.
Josh Allen is someone I'm more concerned about than anyone else. He loves playing backyard football, Jeff.
He's a big dude, though. I don't blame him. He's a big dude.
Carson was a big dude, and we saw what that.
Carson Wentz is not Josh Allen.
No. I'm not talking from a talent perspective, but just you're talking about his size. And Carson was a big dude, and it doesn't matter, man. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
I don't even blame Josh Allen. This is why I think the Eagles could beat the Bills in the Super Bowl if they would play them. The Bills' offensive line is not that great,
and they don't have a running game either.
Yeah, it's solid. Well, here's the thing: they have a running game in Devin Singletary and James Cook. They don't use it.
Oh,
they don't. They rely on, and here's the thing though: they rely on Allen a lot, but the last 4 weeks they haven't, and they're 4-0, ironically. So I think it's almost like the Cowboys with Tony Pollard. It feels like they found something. They're like, oh, we don't need to run Josh as much, or Josh doesn't have to take off as much as he has to. And it's funny, right? Because he's not putting up the numbers he normally puts up, but he does run in the red zone. Because why not, right? It's like Jalen Hurts. Why would you take away 6 points?
Hey, listen, man. Look, at the end of the day, this is going to be a really exciting playoff run for all teams involved, and I can't wait to see what Jalen Hurts does with this opportunity. Jeff, let's take our final break of the show. We'll come back, we'll share our final thoughts, and then we'll close this thing out. How's that sound?
Works for me, Tone. You're in control right now.
Hey, listen, you guys are locked in on Good Morning NFC East. I only take it as far as Jeff Kerr will allow me. He's Jeff Kerr. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. Keep it locked, you guys. We'll be back to close the show.